collaborating with your strengths. The research is, and where it's come from, if you don't know, I just want to kind of lay a little bit of groundwork for you, is Don Clifton started as a psychologist, positive psychologist, and he started researching the field of strengths. Now, strengths does not just come from psychology, it actually comes out of the field of social work. In the field of social work, people would say, how is it we can make people perform to their highest levels of abilities? They looked at strengths first. And they were looking at innate abilities that were untapped. Why is it people are having so many struggles? Is their natural talents, are they untapped? And how is it we can tap into them to turn them into strengths and to help them be successful? So it does come out of years and years of social work research, but Don Clifton put an amazing spin on it, and he came up with these 34 talent themes, we call them, based off of his research. Initially, if you took this survey under Strength Finders 1.0, there was a bit of a variance in the strengths, but now this is more fine-tuned statistically speaking. And what he was beginning to study was, in the field of psychology, if you ever went to a counselor or have conversations with a counselor, normally what they're looking at is what's wrong. Why did you come to me, right? So the field of psychology has been notorious for studying alcoholics to tell people how not to be alcoholics, right? We're notorious for looking at depression and studying depression to teach people how not to be depressed. Do I want to learn how not to be depressed based off of a depressed person? No, I think I want to learn how to be happy and enjoy life based off of people that are happy and enjoying life, right? Do I want to learn how not to have problems with my husband and not to have divorce and study divorced people? Or do I want to study people that stay with their spouses? You know, so the spin here in positive psychology is that's what he did. He began to study what was going right. He began to study and look at people and habits and talents people had that made their path to success a little easier based off of what they were doing right. And that's positive psychology. It's not to ignore or to not pay attention to things that are not going right. It's not to say that, but if we invest more of our time and energy into ourselves in areas of our strengths and what's going right, can we be more successful as leaders? Or if we try to compensate for our weaknesses and invest so much time in overcoming our weaknesses, will that lead us to a journey of success? That's some of the questions that this asks. If you guys think about growing up, think about a time in school when maybe you had A's, B's, and C's, D's. Where was your focus from your parents? What happened to my great A's and B's that I got? Do you know how much I love those A's and B's? And they're wished away. I was told to spend a lot more time on math because that's where I failed. I'm never going to be a mathematician. I'm never going to be an accountant. I have people skills, I've got language arts skills, I've got expressive writing skills. But that's not paid attention to. So I'm investing time in correcting a weakness that would never be a natural talent to me. So is that the best investment of my time? It could take me up to 4 hours to do a data analysis sheet as compared to my cohort who could do it probably in an hour and a half because that's how he's wired. So gosh, do I spend the 4 hours and get frustrated and not enjoy it and just bang my head up against the wall? Yes, I might be able to complete it, but will it be at the success and the strength that this person can? So that's what we look at when we're looking at strengths. Do we come from this mentality of let's fix our weaknesses, and which would help you be more successful in life, knowing what your weaknesses are and attempting to improve them, or knowing what your strengths are and attempting to build on them. Yes, and I get it a lot from groups. I've done hundreds and hundreds of groups around strengths. I get a lot. Well, you know what? If you fail a class in school, you gotta fix it. Not unlike I said for my son, right? He had to fix it. It's called managing your weaknesses. He has to learn how to manage the classes he doesn't do as well in. But wow, when I'm going to invest and I'm going to grow in an area, I'm going to do it not where I'm managing to survive, but where I'm flourishing. where I know that I'm done with a subject here that I love, and I could do it again because I love it so much. Walking away from an activity or a project and saying, that was great. That's you're knowing when your talents are being unveiled to you. Because some of us don't even know what those talents look like. Gallup did come up with the themes in general and then narrowed them down to talents. You are given your top 5 are your talent themes. Okay, and so what your talent themes mean to you is that there are full descriptions. You get a full description, the descriptions in the book. Those full descriptions are a ton of just talents within that theme. So I have individualization. If I were to read through the whole paragraph of individualization, not each and every sentence, action, word, phrase is going to fit me. But the reason why it's my strength is because I probably have more talents within that paragraph description than I do in my 34th. My 34th is adaptability. If I were to read the paragraph on adaptability, I could maybe connect with one sentence in the whole thing. Because that is not where I've invested skills and knowledge. That's not where my talent lies. It is a talent, but it's my 34th because I'm not as dominant and strong in it. Even if I would invest a ton of time in it, I would never be strong in it. Because I don't go with the flow very well, as my husband always says. Oh, I can see your adaptability coming right through. So, anyways, that's what, and we'll talk a lot more about what it means and how does it feel and look to you guys and why is it yours and how does it take on different flavors and different colors of the rainbow is what I call them. Who taught you how to write with your hand? Which hand? Nobody taught you how to pick up a pen and write with your hand? Which hand to choose? You chose it on your own? It's what came? Yeah, absolutely. There are some myths about our weaknesses that unfortunately our parents and the academic society has been schooled to teach us to accommodate, to fix our weaknesses. That's how traditionally educators have been taught. We have to make sure our students are up to par. We lose sight of what they're doing right, and we focus on what they're doing wrong. And this is some of these myths of weakness. That all behaviors are learned if you try hard enough. And I will dispel this myth here in a little bit. Because even if you have great empathy and you are a great relator, but you do not want to administer shots to somebody, but you're in the nursing field may not be the right course for you. You'll never have the knowledge, and you may have the skills, the knowledge, but because your talents don't coincide with it, it won't turn into being a great nurse, a strength. And so you can work hard to get a lot of things accomplished, but are you working at 3 times the amount of input in order to get even a third of the amount of outcome based off of the fact you're trying to overcome weaknesses? You want it badly enough, you can do it. How many of you heard that growing up? It's true, but gosh, if we want it badly enough and it's a talent to begin with, where we grow that will be amazing. If it's a non-talent theme, and then yes, you can work hard, it's like me doing a data sheet. It's like banging my head up against the wall. It's like asking you now to write the entire rest of your life with your non-dominant hand. It will always feel like it doesn't fit. And that is what we feel like when we're not working in our talent themes. That something does not fit. Think about your job responsibilities. Think about, we like our jobs. You guys applied for the jobs. You were hired to do what you do. I guarantee there are parts of your job you don't do very well. There are parts of your job you love that you would want to do all day long because it comes natural, easy, it flows, I'm excited, I'm motivated, and then there are these other things. Dreaming it, you can't achieve it. That's again another myth that we are raised with. Grandma and Grandpa like to tell you that. And last one, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Absolutely not. The leaders that are great leaders are operating within their talent themes to get there. The best get there the same way. Do all the presidents get to be presidents in the same way, walk the same path? Absolutely not. Can we study traits and principles and characteristics? Sure we can. But where our strengths are going to be unveiled in many different ways and not the same course. Absolutely not. Maybe similar in some aspects, but the great thing about leadership, you guys, or to become a great leader, you don't want to be just like another leader, because that's not a leader. You want to inspire to be different, to be yourself, to be unique unto you, to make an impact and create your legacy that's different than other leaders. Learn and grow from, yeah. All those people you wrote about on your paper, awesome people. You want to be like them, a lot of characteristics, but we want to be different from them as well. Fix your weaknesses to win successes. No matter how long you try to put that square thing in the round thing, it's not going. No matter how long you try to write with your non-dominant hand, it will never feel natural or normal. But this is what we've been conditioned to think, and this is what's been hard about changing the evolution of strengths in society and organizations and companies, is to recognize this. Performance evals. Any of you guys have to complete performance evals and reviews? Yeah. And when you have to identify with an employee what's going wrong, your action plan is involved around what? Rectifying what's going wrong, right? The action plan is not about, hey, you know what, you're doing 80% of this great. What more do you want to do to build that into a higher level of success or leadership for you? No, we focus on the fact Karen doesn't probably do very well with the details in the reports, so her work is a little satisfactory here. So you better invest much more time in that during your workday to build that up to a level of expectation versus let's bounce this puppy off the wall because I'm creative and I got energy and passion and juices and want to get new ideas and pilot programs and projects going. That gets stifled and that gets lost when we try to focus with this mentality. Still, the statistics are, even though with years of research, it's still very hard to recondition our thinking as a culture and as a society. You know, you watch the first 10 minutes of news, and what is the first 10 minutes of news about in our culture? Everything that's gone bad, right? Every single thing that's shot, weather. Anyways, we're still hung up on the weaknesses. We're still hung up on trying to fix something that's wrong. We're still there. I think it's the statistics have remained this way for the last 7 years of research, 8 years possibly. We have not seen a staggering change. Even internationally speaking, Japan, we do a lot with them, and Great Britain and Australia are very strong with strengths, and they're seeing a slight, but still nothing that really changes it, which tells us we still have that gut thing that, you know, I'm not perfect unless I can overcome my weaknesses. And now if we take weakness out of our vocabulary and just say it's a lesser strength of mine, it's something I do need to manage. I'm not great at math, but I can manage it. It puts it on a different realm. Math is not one of my talents. But you know what? I'm going to use my other talents, my communication talents, my abilities to surround myself with people that know math. My individualization, I'm going to get together with a friend because I'm really close and he's going to help me with that. So could I use other strengths within the math field to help me manage that weakness? That will never turn into a talent, but I could manage it and feel like it's not necessarily that weakness, but it's just not an area of my strength. Took me a while to get over the fact I wasn't adaptable, but in the definition of where I lose adaptability, I know exactly where I lose it because I've got activator and I've got arranger and maximizer in my top 3. When those things are not in line working well, my adapter jumps in and makes it even harder for me to manage. Does that make sense? So if I'm trying to activate an event like this, I've done all my research, I'm trying to improve something that we feel is good from a pilot project to make it great. So I've done all the arranging and the research and the writing, and today I'm activating, I'm individualizing and communicating. My adaptability may come to a halt or may impact my performance if I feel as if the things were printed wrong, or if I feel like I've misspoke, or something that's going to like throw a wrench into it, if you would. I can go with the flow. Individualization is I can go with the questions and those kind of things. But my weakness or managing that is to realize what I've had to let go of is there's going to be problems out there. I've got to be able to go with it, relax about it, don't get over the top with it when I'm presenting in front of a group. It's just something that's going to happen, and we're just going to move forward. So what work engages me now? There are 5 questions that I can ask you, and you can ask your people, you can ask your family, you can ask your co-workers that help you have an idea about where their strengths are and where your strengths are. And there are 5 very easy questions. The first one is, think about this within your activities, relationships, projects, anything like that. What is it? What are you drawn to? The pictures here demonstrate, are you drawn towards debate? Are you a comfortable person that loves to debate ideas? Or are you out loud? Or are you the kind of person that debates and thinks in my head first and speaks second? What are you drawn towards? Are you drawn towards being very organized? Does that closet thrill you? Do you want that closet? As a child, I have a ranger. Literally as a child, I would wake up on Saturday morning and I loved to organize my drawers. I'm not OCD, but that to me was like peace of mind. I would wake up, I would do it, I would move on in my day, but I felt drawn to do this, drawn to have things arranged in such a manner. Nobody taught me to do that. My mom didn't say get up and clean your room or go do this. Were there things that you did as a child that you just did? You were drawn to doing that. And they may be relationships, they may be gathering people, talking to people. So what were you drawn to do? Do you learn quickly something? Are there topic areas of interest you learn quickly? Can you walk into the room and look around and to start talking to people and know their names and remember their names right away? Or are you the type of person that you walk into a room, you can have a conversation, and you're able to bring out something unique about that person, and that is what you are going to remember about that person? You could see that person 5 years from now, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, you wore that fuchsia shirt in that training, and da, da, da. I remember Daphne, I remember her at the training, and I knew his customer service, I couldn't tell you her name. I see hundreds and hundreds of people. Are you able to, what do you learn quickly about people, places, topics? Do you yearn for reading about facts? Do you learn quickly what makes a person feel good about themselves? You choose gifts because you want to have impact based off of the connection. So what do you learn quickly? Next question is, when did it flow for you? Think of like a project, an event. Think about something, a relationship, a workplace, where you might describe them as it just flowed. Like after an event, you think about it and you're like, yeah, we just flew through that and it was very enjoyable and the people and everything. Or some people might go to that same event and walk away with not the flow kind of feeling. So when did it flow for you? Did you organize an event? Something that you might be working on, like when you're saying ideas that pop up, and then you go right with, okay, what's next step? What are we moving into? Where's the flow going? What direction? And am I enjoying this? And then, when did you have glimpses of excellence? This is something where, think about past projects where you got through it and you were like, wow, I can do it. Or I didn't believe the project started like this and I got it transformed to this level of excellence. Glimpses of excellence in your life. Times in which you shine for yourself and or others. What was that? So what I ask is, when you think about these glimpses of excellence, you then think about your top 5 strengths and you say, how is it I utilize them to get to this level of excellence? Because to get there, you would have operated within your strengths. Okay, so you see these moments of time, and now you may be in a fuzzy moment, and you're like, how do I make it through? Look at your moments and times that are glimpses of excellence. And what is it you were empowered? What were you utilizing during those moments? What were your talents and what were your strengths that got you through it? What gave you satisfaction, or what gives you satisfaction? When you wake up on Saturday morning, what's the first thing you want to do? What gives you satisfaction on the weekend? what is all these words that I'm saying? We really didn't chat about them. So let's talk about the differences. What does it mean to have a talent? What does it mean to have a skill, knowledge, strength, theme? What are all these things? And how is it we can make sure we're working within them to create these amazing themes to become leaders? The first word is talent. And that's what I was talking about there. Talent, that natural, reoccurring thing that you may have done as a child that just came to you. It's just, it could be a thought, it could be a pattern of thought. It could be me waking up on Saturday and just thinking, gosh, I cannot wait to organize my closet. I know, it's a dork. Or it could be me waking up on Saturday and can't wait to start my new book. You know, or it could be me waking up and going directly to a friend because I want to make sure I'm on the same page with her and what we're going to do today. You know, what is that talent? The talent with the friend could be harmony, it could be empathy, it could be relator, it could be responsibility, it could look like a lot of different talents. Okay, so what is one of those talents? I'm going to follow the path of a nurse. A nurse that was interviewed for this. Her talent was that she had empathy and responsibility. Okay? Open up your strengths books, if you would, or you can pull out the handouts that are the long description. Now, do you see any connection with the nursing field? Possibly? All right. So how do we grow that talent? You know, hey, Mom, I want to be a nurse. All right, let's see. We have to then add a skill to it, the basic ability to perform the specific steps of an activity. So let's take, for instance, administering a shot to a patient, right? The skill is I have to have the ability to perform that. Now, when I have the ability, the knowledge to perform it, I know how to do it. The skill of practicing when I have empathy and responsibility is going to come across to a patient how. She's going to have empathy that she cares, the responsibility, she's going to do it well because she feels the commitment to the patient that this is my responsibility to make sure I know how to administer the shot the best way I can, right? So she's got a couple of those strengths. So she has now the basic abilities to perform the shot, specific steps of that activity. She's practiced. She's created knowledge and awareness of how to maybe connect with each individual patient based off of age or touch, or she's very aware of these things based off of her empathy. And what that then builds into over time is a strength. Not just a strength for her to administer shots with a little less pain, but to be an excellent nurse. One that is caring, one that is responsible, one where when you bring your kids to somebody that has to receive a shot, you want to bring your kids to her. So she had these talents as a young child. She didn't know what direction to go in, but she knew she wanted to work with people to develop those natural talents that just came to her as a child. And so then she sought a career field consistent with the skills, the knowledge, which would unveil her strength over time. I'll give you another for instance. Two gentlemen. One is a heart surgeon and one is an accountant. The heart surgeon was in a family where there were surgeons, and you were going to be a surgeon. This gentleman excelled at math, excelled at understanding procedures, and excelled at wanting to dig into books. No people skills whatsoever. None. He became a surgeon. Was he having a strength as a surgeon? He could do the job, he could perform it, but he would never excel at it. I wouldn't want to be on his table to have surgery. He didn't have the right fit, right? He was directed, he had the skills, he had the knowledge, but he didn't start with a natural talent, so you can't grow it into a strength. Can you do the steps? Yes. Will you ever be award-winning? Or a fantastic leader in the surgery world? No. Same thing with the accountant. The accountant actually wanted to be a surgeon, and he went into accounting because that's what his family told him to do because his dad was an accountant. He will never be a great accountant, ever. So where are you driving to? The question comes when we coach people is there's something missing in my life. There's something, I want to find that road to happiness. Why am I always thinking the grass is greener? Why is there always a disconnect at the end of the day that something I feel as if I should have done more, could have done more? Where am I going to find that? Well, I'm not motivated in life. And could it be that there's not a connection working for you? Could you be operating outside of your talents in areas where it's harder to manage? Because that's what you've been taught to do. We're searching for that answer, not only pushed from a cultural perspective to be competitive and materialistic and to drive in the wrong direction against where we should be driving. And then we just get stuck on that road. We get stuck on that journey and it's hard to make change. But I do challenge you to say, if you go to bed at night and something is just missing for you, if you're constantly searching, I want you to look at your day-to-day activities, and as we grow in our strengths, understanding, and knowledge, is it something where you're investing a lot of your time during your day in areas that are your non-talent themes? And if those non-talent themes are more dominant than your talent themes, we have to do some work in making some changes around that. All right, so does this make sense? We have a talent, and then we have the skill we apply to that. We've got the knowledge, and that turns into the strengths. And then over time, we have this multiplier effect. We have an amazing person that's operating within their strengths. I will give you mine. As a child, I'll do one of mine, a different one, but talent, I will say individualization. I had just a yearning. Remember we asked our five questions that we could ask each other to kind of get ideas about where our strengths are. As a child, I had a yearning to talk to people, to get to know what made them happy, what's going on, so hence the counseling field. But I had a yearning to pick up on, like, Paula, what is it that was unique to Paula? I really wanted to know that. That is something that came to me from when I can remember back when I was 5 years old. Talking to people. I would talk to people that were my sister's age, which she's 8 years older than me, and have them reveal things to me, and my sister would be sitting there going, I didn't know that about you. How did you get that out of my friend? She would have never said that to me. So it's just something I yearn for, I love to do. It wasn't depressing to me. There was never too much. So that just was there. Then I knew I wanted to work with people, but initially I thought I wanted to be a nurse. And then I saw blood and I said no. And so then I went in the direction of building my skills of working with people. Actually, I started with children with disabilities and child abuse and autism, and then grew with different knowledge in different directions. And it used to be thought to me that my strength of individualization was a weaker strength. Now you guys are going to look at your strengths and you're going to say, I really don't like certain ones. But as a female and as a counselor, I thought, and I was in a very male-dominated family, that I probably should be doing more in a field that was more financially lucrative. So I never thought that my individualization was truly like, wow. I just thought, oh, it's just who I am. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. When I began to embrace my strengths, probably about 12 years ago, from a professional standpoint, it changed my life. I drive in a different direction. I have more passion, commitment, and motivation today than I ever have in regards to what I do, because I know what I'm doing is based off of my naturally driven talents. And I feel as if what I bring to people can be world-changing, can help people evolve and change, even if it's just one person in this room or whoever I speak to. So I used to minimize it, and we get in a tendency of minimizing what we do well. Anybody out there? You ever say to yourself, that's just something I do, don't worry about that. I fold laundry really well, but you know what? I love folding laundry because it's my ranger in me. So I'm going to fold it, someone else is going to put it away. So that turns into a strength, and it turns into proud, it turns into passion, it turns into leadership skills that you don't even know you have because you're doing it, and then people want to be like you because you're so happy. The themes are what we talk about. Your top 5, what Gallup gives you is just what I said. It's a group of your talents, and it's a collage of many things that you bring to the workforce and to your life and to many people's lives.